Looking back, would you have taken that trip overseas?
You know, I am going to focus today
But please,
on what we know.
Maher, can I ask you one question about round gouging?
I think this piece that you wrote about Karen Bass is so fascinating because last week when I saw this video of her getting off the airplane and not responding to a Sky News reporter, just asking for basic comments about anything she could say to the residents of LA. I had to watch it a few times because I was just so struck by her non-response there. I know you've talked to a lot of people in Los Angeles where you are, and you've reported on politics for a long time, and I'm wondering kind of what your assessment is and how people in Los Angeles are feeling about her.
Karen Bass, for a variety of reasons, including that video you just mentioned, has come in for singular blame here. It's hard to see politically how she survives this. I mean, there could be a recall here. There's a lot of anger. It requires 15% of the city's voters to sign a recall petition to get that going. But she's up for re-election next year. The big issue, because the mayor of Los Angeles has weaker executive powers than other cities in this country, the one thing you got to do is show leadership and show some sort of political agenda. She knew, we all knew here in Los Angeles from the National Weather Service, on at least by Friday, January 3rd, that there was a real threat here because of the Santa Ana winds and the dry winter, that this could be a calamitous fire situation. The next day, she left. Real quick, though, two big stories just came out in the LA Times that also add to her challenges here. She was at a diplomatic reception in Ghana having cocktails while the Palisades fire was burning. Pictures of that surfaced on LinkedIn. And secondly, the LA Times reported today, and this is probably more of the fire department's issue, although she's in charge of that too, notionally, that they only had 5 trucks in place. Again, no one here was prepared for how dangerous and intense this fire was, so it's hard to point fingers. But Karen Bass is the person that I think if you talk to any random man on the street, woman on the street here in Los Angeles, they'd be mad at her.
Yes, I think what is happening in the Democrat Party is common. We saw what they did with January 6th, like this is the worst event after 9/11. They spread that even till today. Now, what is happening to them is not in good shape. They are not in good shape. They are not happy politically. And some people wish this should prolong. A lot is not okay in the Democratic Party. Look at what happened after Trump won. Look at what is going on. Going back into Karen Bass, stories are now coming out to pour spit on her face that she was attending a cocktail party in Ghana when the fire broke out. Like you can see here, these are videos, pictures coming out. She is receiving criticisms on this. I understand you cannot criticize her because she's a black woman. You should not do that. But the mainstream media didn't get that. They are not happy. Some are calling to recall her. And some still focus on the fact that you should not be able to say she's incompetent. Some want to defend her.
Karen Bass is taking a lot of heat. So is Gavin Newsom. But there's going to be a recall on Karen Bass. We will see what happens. But a lot of people think she failed in terms of leadership and, where budget cuts may have affected the fire department. And there are other people who are saying, how dare you even talk about that in the middle of the fire? So where do you stand?
Well, we all took a lot of heat. I'm with the people who want to hold politicians accountable. We shouldn't talk about it now. It's so funny to hear that coming out of the mouths of liberals because they hate it when conservatives say that after a gun tragedy, which is what conservatives always say after a mass shooting. This is not the time to politicize it, and then it never is. It is absolutely the time to talk about it. And this is what my editorial is about Friday night on the show. Was it always going to be bad? Of course. Their arguments are not wrong. We built the city in a terrible place to build a city. Global warming absolutely does make hot stuff and weather worse. The winds were ridiculous. Yeah, I get all that. And they also made a lot of errors. And if you held Bush accountable for Katrina and thought Rudy Giuliani was an idiot for putting the command center in the World Trade Center, which is the place they attacked for and were most likely to attack again, which he was. Well, then you have to have some intellectual honesty and criticize your team when they don't do it right. And they've had a long time to get this righter. It was always going to be bad. All of these were always going to be bad, and they always seem to be the worst they ever possibly could be. So, no, I think we should demand better.
That is it. Accountability. Maher is actually saying the truth, which Democrats don't believe in that, especially criticizing her. Karim Bass did a lot, and if care is not taken, she's gone. But I know they will still protect her. When I look at what Maher said on this video, he actually opened up the minds of people. They had this to say, but they are scared to do that. Watching this interview he had with TMZ actually brought in the gas.
Of a recall. I think it's that important to not wait for the next election, to have a recall of Mayor Bass and have an election. And this is not about Republican or Democrat. I have a question. Who would you rather rebuild the Palisades? Mayor Bass, who had all this warning, or Rick Caruso, who built the Grove? He built the Palisades Village, which is 99% intact. In fact, that's the guy that I want to rebuild.
Now going into something else, Jimmy Kimmel is not happy. He had a meltdown pertaining to this decision Trump took, making Hollywood great again. When you look at this tweet, it is my honor to announce John Voight, Mel Gibson, and Sylvester Stallone to be special ambassador to a great but very troubled place, Hollywood, California. They will serve as special envoy to me for the purpose of bringing Hollywood, which has lost much business over the last 4 years, to foreign countries, back bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. These three very talented people will be my eyes and ears. I will get done what they suggest. It will again be like the United States of America itself, the golden age of Hollywood. This is what Jimmy had to say pertaining to what Trump put out. I understand anything Trump says, they always go off, I don't know, maybe just for clicks or what exactly.
This is good. Donald Trump, while everybody has been worried that he won't do anything to help us, turns out we're wrong. This morning he wrote, "It is my honor to announce John Voight, Mel Gibson, and Sylvester Stallone to be special ambassadors to a great but very troubled place, Hollywood, California."
I think also in this environment right now where immediately there's discussion flowing through social media networks that cleaves down partisan lines, that is stopping our ability to be united. And we should not just accept that as inevitable. That is weakening our ability to unite as a nation and as cities.
Let me answer your criticism by asking you a question.
Sure.
Do you think it was uniting or dividing while in the midst of these fires for the Democrats to go to Sacramento and in an emergency session vote to appropriate $50 million to Trump-proof California, to sue the Trump administration, which hasn't even taken office yet? Do you think that was a good priority and a good time to do that, or no? Was that dividing? Was that divisive, or was that uniting?
Scott, I think what Sacramento does, and by the way, I think the focus should be entirely on the firefighting. And I'm not going to go take that, bait, because I don't know the details of that particular bill.
They voted to appropriate $50 million to sue Trump.
You see the madness here? They were focused to Trump-proof California while places are burning. That was not a good move. Look at the time. They are the first to criticize, oh, Trump said this, oh, this one is going on. Looking at Jimmy, I don't want to play all that video because of these copyright issues. He was there melting down because Trump appointed Mel Gibson and others to oversee or make Hollywood great again.
Yeah, we were just talking about the wildfire situation.
You know, I'm going to take care of the forests and maintain the forests and do all that kind of stuff. He didn't do anything.
Didn't do anything. And then on top of that, they cut the water off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Elon Musk confirmed that what this lady is saying is the truth.
Palisades looks like, unfortunately Gaza or one of these war-torn countries where awful things have happened. So, and there are fires now breaking out everywhere. So it feels totally bizarre to be talking about a movie.
I'll be laying out a plan for how we recover.
And sparks move things. And it doesn't matter how much water you have.
Thank you guys for always been there sharing on my videos. I don't like to make the videos long. Reason I always cut it at this point for
future president and his gag
are a function of their flawed morality and policy.
The problem with California is forestry management.
We're triggering total collapse.
Oh.
The city of the Pacific Palisades is burning, and I flew here last night. I was on the plane, started getting texts.
So I am evacuating my home.
What we need to do against what we know is right, and these are the results.
Trump is now calling that Governor Newsom should step down.
This is you getting water to areas that need water because there are fires in 100-mile-an-hour winds.
The situation is beyond control. I'll be updating you, giving you more information to what I'm observing on social media. I didn't want to report this, but people keep sending this to me. God bless you.
Health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
What do we do?
All right, right now you're looking.
Remember it.
As a country about James.
Yeah, and then I think all our tax dollars probably went for Gavin's hair gel. I don't know, but it's like, it's sad.
I want to be,
Jim Jordan.
In the 5 tenants of
Palisades Village right here. This is the town center of sorts.